We are going to try this again. My phone just shut off my last video at 2 minutes in, so hopefully this one lets me go longer. All right, annuities, methods of savings, and investments. So an annuity is a sequence of equal payments made at, equal time periods. So an IRA is an example of an annuity. We'll talk about an IRA later in these notes. The value of an annuity is the sum of all deposits plus all interest paid. So you are depositing money into an annuity and it's gaining interest. So we start with your compound interest formula that A equals P parentheses 1 plus R to the T, where A is your future value, P is your principal, R is your rate, T is your time in years. So number one, you deposit $2,000 into a savings plan at the end of each year for 3 years. The interest rate is 10% per year compounded annually, round to the nearest dollar. So you start with year one. At the end of year one, you deposit $2,000. So it has not gained any interest. You've just got $2,000 sitting in your account. Drag that over. For year two, you have that $2,000 that you deposited times 1 plus your 10% interest rate at 1 year. That gives you a total of $2,200. Well, you deposit up here, you deposit $2,000 at the end of each year. So 2,200 plus 2,000 gives you 4,200. So at the end of 2 years, you have $4,200 in that annuity. Take that value for year three, drag it over. Year three, you've got 4,200 times 1 plus your 10% interest rate at 1 year. That gives us 4,620. You have to add in that $2,000 that you're adding at the end of each year. So you end up with $6,620 in that annuity. Now, what you need to take note of, you deposited $6,000 of that, but it has gained $620 in interest over the course of 3 years. Technically 2, but so that's pretty cool. Oh, hey, that's the next part. Sorry. Find the interest. You take what you've got in your account and you subtract what you deposited. So you deposited $2,000 3 times. So you're taking $6,620 minus $6,000, and that leaves you with $620 in interest that you have accumulated. All right, value of an annuity, which is interest compounded once a year. So we could have used this formula to do this problem, but you need to know how to do it the long way before you can do the easy way. So the easy way is future value equals your principal times 1 plus your rate to the time minus 1, again, time in years, by the way, divided by your rate. If you remember, your rate is always given as a as a percent, and you need to convert it to a decimal. So number two, suppose that when you are 25, you deposit $3,000 into an IRA at the end of each year for 40 years. If you can count on an interest rate of 8% per year compounded annually, round to the nearest dollar. So you are depositing $3,000 at the end of each year for 40 years. Your interest rate is 8%, which is 0.08. All you've got to do is plug that information in. So if you have a cell phone and you're doing this on a cell phone, here's what you're going to do. You're going to start 1 plus 0.08, enter. Raise that to the 40th, enter. Subtract 1, enter. Multiply by 3,000, enter. Divide by 0.08, enter. I know that's a lot. If you have a graphing calculator, type it in exactly as you see it. And if you have one of the scientific ones, again, type it in as you see it. Just make sure you're putting parentheses. Anywho, that gives you a total of $777,169.55. 'Tis a lot of money. So find the interest. Well, you take what amount is in that account. So in that RA, you've got that amount. Subtract. You put $3,000 in for 40 years. Well, you take 3,000 times 40, and that gives you 120,000. So this is actually how much you contributed. This is how much is in the account. Subtract those two, and that gives you an interest of $657,170. That is a ton of interest. That's nice. That's really nice. But that's what you would earn if you had, 8% compounded annually. So your value of an annuity, interest compounded in times per year. This is when it does monthly, weekly, quarterly, those kind of semi-annually, those kind of things. So it's almost the same formula as up here, only now you've got that n included. So you've got to divide your rate by n, and then you've got to multiply your n by t. Sorry, get the hiccups again. So at age 30, to save for retirement, you decide to deposit $100 at the end of each month to an IRA that pays 9.5% compounded monthly. Round to the nearest dollar. How much will you have from the IRA when you retire at age 65? So your principal, you're depositing $100. That's compounded monthly, so N is 12. Your rate is 9.5%, which is 0.095. And your T is 35 years because you're starting at age 30 and you're going to age 65. That is a span of 35 years. Plug all of that information in. Again, I'm just going to walk you through. If you're using a cell phone, this divided by this, enter. Plus 1, enter. Raised to this power, enter. Minus 1, enter. Times 100, enter. Divided by this, enter. I'm really hoping y'all have a calculator at home. So you end up in that IRA, you end up with $333,946.29. Then for Part B, you got to come over here and find your interest. So take how much is in the IRA and subtract how much you deposited. You deposited $100 at the end of each month for 35 years. So total, you put in $42,000. So $33,946 minus $42,000 gives you an interest accumulation of $291,947, which still isn't bad. So page 2. All right, regular payments needed to achieve a financial goal. This is if you want X amount in this account after so many years at this interest rate, how much do you need to put in per month, per year, however. So your principal equals your future value times R over N, rate over number of times it's compounded, divided by 1 plus rate over number of times compounded to the number of times compounded times time in years minus 1. So, and this example is mainly where you're going to see these type of formulas. Parents of a baby girl are in financial position to begin saving for her college education. They plan to have $100,000 in a college fund in 18 years by making regular end-of-month deposits in an annuity that pays 9% compounded monthly. How much should they deposit at the end of each month? Round to the nearest dollar. So her future value is going to be $100,000. Her principal, how much they're putting in each month, that's what we're looking for. Her rate, it's 9%. Yeah. Her time, or number of times it's compounded, it tells you monthly or end of the month deposits. So N is 12, and then time is 18 years. You plug all of that into your formula. This one, let's see, again, cell phone directions. Ooh, this one's a doozy. I would start on the bottom, this divided by this, enter, plus 1, enter, to that power, enter, minus 1, enter, write down that number. Then I would do this operation up top, and then I would do that division, which means you're going to have to type in this number on the bottom. But anywho, it gives you $186.44. It tells you to round to the nearest dollar. Now, rounding to the nearest dollar, I understand that it's a 5 or below, so we round down. If you round down to $186, you're not going to have quite 100 grand. So you need to round up on this one to $187 per month needs to be deposited into that little girl's bank account to have $100,000 at the end of 18 years. So B, again, how much is coming from deposits and how much is coming from interest. So we're going to do deposits first. So if you deposit $187 for 12 per month, that's where the 12 came from, $187 per month for 18 years, then you have actually deposited $40,392. To calculate the interest, you take that $100,000 and subtract that $40,392 and get that you have $59,608 coming from interest. All right, so now it moves on to stocks and bonds and cash investments, and this book is actually a wealth of knowledge for financial stuff. If you have your book, it's worth it to read through it on this portion. Actually, for pretty much the rest of this chapter is worth it to read through. But you've got a cash investment when you deposit money into a bank account. Your return is a certain percent increase in your investment. Stock is shares of ownership in a company. A shareholder is any investor who owns some percentage of the company. Trading is buying or selling stock. Stock exchange is where stocks are traded. Capital gain, when you sell the shares for more money than what you paid. Dividends. While you own the stock, the company distributes all or part of its profits to shareholders. Each share is paid the same dividend. Bonds are technically an IOU between the lender and borrower that includes the details of the loan and its payments. A mutual fund is a group of stocks and or bonds managed by a professional investor. Those investors give you financial portfolios. A financial portfolio is a listing of all investments that a person holds. A diversified portfolio is a portfolio with a mixture of low risk and high risk investments. So reading stock tables, you've got a 52-week high, which is the highest price that the stock traded at in 52 weeks. You've got a 52-week low, which is the lowest price that the stock traded at in 52 weeks. Okay. Then you've got the stock, which is the company name. You've got dividends, or DIV, which is dividends paid per share. Your yield percent, or percent yield, is annual returns for the dividends. Your volume 100s is sales volumes in hundreds, the number of shares traded yesterday. High is the highest price yesterday. Low is the lowest price yesterday. Your close is the price at which the shares last traded when the stock exchange closed yesterday. Sorry, you can't see that. There we go. Your net change is the change in price from the market close 2 days ago to yesterday's market close. And PE, price to earning ratio, it's got a formula: yesterday's closing price per share over the annual earnings per share. If it asks for annual earnings per share instead, it's yesterday's closing price per share over the PE ratio. So, based on all of that, because I know that was a mouthful, it gives you a stock table. And it asks you to read individual information from that stock table. So what were the high and low prices for the past 52 weeks? So you want 52-week high, which is at 63.38, and the 52-week low, which is 42.37. So high, low. That's all you've got to do for those. B, if you owned 3,000 shares of Coca-Cola stock last year, what dividend did you receive? So for this one, you go to the column that says DIV. So the dividends were 0.72. So you multiply 0.72 by those 3,000 shares, which just means 72 cents, by the way. So 3,000 shares times 72 cents is a total of $2,160 that you received. You got paid. C, what is the annual return for dividends alone? This is that YLD percent column. So you come up here, that's 1.5%. How does that compare to a bank account offering a 3.5 interest rate? Well, that 1.5 yield is a lot lower than a 3.5. So on this stock, this specific stock, it would be worth it to invest your money in a bank account rather than this stock. D, how many shares of Coca-Cola were traded yesterday? So for shares, you go to volume in 100s. Volume in 100s, that's 72,032, but that is in hundreds. So you have to multiply that by 100 to get 7,203,200 shares were traded yesterday. E, what were the high and low prices for Coca-Cola shares yesterday? You come over here, high, low, copy those down. That's all you've got to do. What price at which what was the price at which Coca-Cola shares traded yesterday? So you come over here, close, $49.50, copy it down. So most of these are relatively easy. Let's see, I need G and H. So G, what does the value or symbol in the net change column mean? So our net change had a plus 0.03, which means that you closed 3% higher than yesterday. If it was a negative number, you would be closing lower than yesterday. And then compute Coca-Cola's annual earnings per share ratio. Your annual earnings per share is your close price over the PE. PE is right here. So we're going to do close price over that 37. So $49.50 divided by 37 gives you a $1.34 annual earnings per share. All right, now I can get rid of that paper. All right, so now we've got IRAs. Traditional individual retirement accounts, which are called IRAs, are, and I'm sure you can read this on your own paper, by the way, a savings plan that allows you to set aside money for retirement up to $5,500 per year for people under 50 and $6,500 per year for people 50 or older. You do not pay taxes on the money that you deposit. You can start withdrawing from your IRA when you are 59 and a half years old, but the withdrawals are taxed. So either way, you're getting taxed. A Roth IRA is a type R IRA with slightly different tax benefits. You pay taxes on the money you deposit into the IRA, but then you can withdraw your earnings tax-free when you are 59 and a half years old. Although your contributions are not tax deductible, your earnings are never taxed even after withdrawal. And then you've got employer-sponsored retirement plans, including 401ks and 403bs. They're set up by your employer, who often makes some contribution to the plan on your behalf. These plans are not offered by all employees and are used to attract high-quality employees. So those are just some of the different kind of things you can get into when you get older. But number 6, suppose that between the ages of 25 and 40, you contribute $2,000 per year to a 401k, and your employer contributes $1,000 per year on your behalf. The interest rate is 8% compounded annually. What is the value of the 401k rounded to the nearest dollar after 15 years? It is compounded annually. So you need the formula, volume of an annuity compounded annually. That's the formula we're using. You're going from age 25 to 40. That is 15 years. The $3,000 principal amount comes from the fact that you're depositing $2,000 and your employer is contributing $1,000. 2 plus 1 is, 3. And then your interest rate, it tells you 8%. So plug all of that information into that formula, and you end up with $81,456.34. It says round to the nearest dollar, so we're going to round down on this one. So $81,456 is going to be in our annuity, or our 401k, sorry, at the end of 15 years. So B, after 15 years for working for this firm, you move on to a new job. However, you keep that's your, not our, accumulated retirement funds in the 401k. How much money to the nearest dollar will you have in the plan when you reach age 65? You are no longer making deposits to this. You're letting that money, that $81,000, you're letting that sit and accumulate money. So instead of using one of these formulas, you're going to use the future value formula, which is just A equals P parentheses 1 plus R to the T. That's the formula you're going to use for this. So you're going from age 40 to 65, that's 25 years. Your principal amount is $81,456, and your rate, we're assuming it's keeping the same 8% rate. So plug that into the formula, $81,456 times 1 plus 0.08 to the 25, and that gives you, and you can obviously see that, I'm going to round down, $557,849. Which is a nice chunk of change. So what is the difference between the amount of money you will have accumulated in the 401k and the amount you contributed? You put in $2,000 for 15 years, and that was given to you up here. So you contributed $30,000 to this 401k. So take your total amount, your $557,849, and subtract the $30,000 that you contributed, and you're left with $527,849 that accumulated in interest, TEREST, which is a nice chunk of change. So your homework is page 536, numbers 4 through 20, multiples of 4. Let me know if you have any questions.